Hello everyone, my name is Sajni Panchal and I'm a student from the University of Florida. As one of the co-authors, I will be presenting our work on the implementation and evaluation of technical interview preparation activities in a Data Structures and Algorithms course. I will start off with explaining the three phases for the hiring process in the computing industry. The first stage is the application phase, in which an applicant will submit their resumes to various companies and fill out digital application forms. The submitted resumes will be checked among recruiters for qualifications such as work, experience, GPA, and involvement in academic and personal projects that are relevant to the role they are applying for. The next stage focuses on the interview phase. Once an applicant has successfully passed the application phase, a company recruiter will invite the student for technical and behavioral interviews in order to assess the student's problem-solving abilities and communication skills. The interviewer will ask technical questions that usually cover content from data structures, and the student will be prompted to write programs while simultaneously discussing their thought process. The manner in which the interview is conducted ensures to evaluate the interviewee's problem-solving and interpersonal skills. The final stage consists of the negotiation phase, where a recruiter negotiates the contract with the applicant if they're interested in hiring the candidate. Our intervention focuses on preparing students for technical interviews, which is the second stage. There were some debilitating factors that were taken into account when we designed our intervention to help students prepare for technical interviews. Many students have limited time and access to resources outside of their curriculums, especially those who come from a low socioeconomic background and have work or family responsibilities. Another factor that was taken into consideration was lack of adequate preparation for interviews, which leads to increased levels of anxiety and stress. Performance levels during interviews would decrease as students feel more anxious due to under-preparation. Lastly, students with insufficient or lack of exposure to technical interview environments would not be as confident to perform to the best of their abilities. The need to familiarize with the technical interview process is key to building confidence for leaving a positive impact on the interviewer and having a successful interview. Since several students face difficulties in being well prepared for technical interviews, we examined three different perspectives in literature to understand the characteristics of technical interviews and relevant preparation. These three perspectives pertain to employer, student, and practitioner-centric research that has focused on technical interviews in CS education research. In the area of employer-centric research, interviewers have described the purpose and structure of technical interviews as well as what they're looking for in interviewees. For example, Ford et al.'s work suggested that interviewers placed importance on not only technical skills, but also interpersonal skills when selecting candidates. Studies for student participation in technical interviews and aspects that affect success have also been explored. In a study done at historically Black colleges and universities, African American students displayed higher levels of anxiety with little or no interview experience. However, they became less anxious when they were given opportunities to participate in more technical interviews and gain experience. There have been some interventions designed by practitioners for interview preparation. One type of intervention introduced by Ernest was the implementation of coding exercises that resemble technical interview questions in a CS2 course in the form of individual programming assignments. Our intervention, however, mimics the logistics of a technical interview's diet structure and is different from Ernest's work. For our intervention, we sought out to help students prepare for technical interviews. Higher-gator activities for technical interview preparation in our intervention were introduced in a Data Structures and Algorithms course at the University of Florida in fall 2020. The activities included a panel on internship application process, experiences and strategies, role-play activities on technical interviews by teaching assistants, mock interview exercises in self-selected pairs, and mock interview exercises in random pairs. The goal by the end of the intervention was to increase students' familiarity with the interview process and increase their confidence in technical interviews. So what do each of these activities consist of? Well, for our first activity, a panel was hosted in the 5th week of our data structures course. The panel consisted of 4 undergraduate teaching assistants with internship experience and was moderated by the course instructor. The panel covered topics such as the logistics and expectations of the technical interview process, former internship experiences, and strategies used by TAs for successfully obtaining an internship. The goal of including a panel was to make awareness of how important it is for students to have an internship under their belt and the steps that are required to follow for being recruited as an intern. The next activity consisted of a role play demonstration, which was organized in the 6th week into the semester. The course TAs would take on the roles of interviewer and interviewee in a weekly discussion section to showcase the environment and expectations of a technical interview. TAs highlighted the importance of taking an iterative approach to problem solving and asking follow-up questions to the interviewer. Additionally, they highly encouraged to explain the thought process of going through a problem with pseudocode or verbal explanations before writing the actual code. The goal of the role-play demonstration was to let students have the chance to reflect on the practical demonstration as an interviewee and how to provide constructive feedback as an interviewer. Students would gain deeper knowledge and understanding of how the perspectives of both roles look like. For the next 2 exercises, students participated in pairs for mock interviews. The first one took place during the middle of the semester, and the content covered in the technical questions focused on trees and heaps. In the first mock interview, students could select their own partners, and every participant had the chance to act as an interviewer, which would allow them to gain exposure to the recruitment side, and as an interviewee to prepare for future technical interview opportunities. Based on the role assigned to the student, there were specific assignments provided and responsibilities to carry out during the mock interview. For example, interviewers were tasked with researching the technical interview question, handling the logistics, giving hints to the interviewee if stuck, and providing constructive feedback. On the other hand, interviewers were tasked to explain their thought process to solving a problem, ask follow-up questions, and walk through their solution with a test case to identify potential bugs. Both interviewees and interviewers completed a survey reflecting on each other's strengths and weaknesses, as well as their experiences in our activity. The goal of this first mock interview was to allow students to become familiar with the technical interview process and lower their stress by having the choice to pick a partner. The second mock interview took place towards the end of the course, and the content covered in the technical questions focused on sets and maps, or graphs. This time, students were randomly paired together to role-play as interviewer and interviewee. The tasks that were provided to participants were conducted in a similar manner to the first mock interview. However, partners were now randomly paired with each other at this time. The goal of the second mock interview was to create a more realistic experience and increase social interaction. Additionally, previous experience from the first mock interview allowed participants to strengthen their technical interview skills. To evaluate our exercises, we designed a study based on a retrospective pre-post survey where data is collected only once at the end of the semester. In this design, participants state their confidence level at the end and retrospectively determine their confidence level at the beginning of the semester. This type of design allows us to understand the impact that the activities had on participants in regards to their confidence levels and experience. We compared data from 2 groups, one before the intervention was introduced, also called the control group. This data was collected in summer 2020. Our intervention group data was collected in fall 2020. Our study participants included 106 undergraduate students as part of the control group and 257 undergraduate students as part of the intervention group who consented and completed our survey. We used the 3 survey questions in our analysis. First, a qualitative question. Did you find the activity valuable? And then 2 quantitative questions that gauge students' confidence level and their ability to code in programming interviews before and after the course. These questions had a 5-point ordinal scale where students could rate their confidence ranging from not confident to extremely confident. The open-ended question was analyzed using inductive content analysis. The quantitative questions were analyzed using a Mann-Whitney U-test to evaluate differences in mean students' confidence pre- and post-data across control and intervention groups. This test was used as the data did not meet the normal distribution. However, after this analysis, we found that students' pre-confidence levels were different between the 2 groups. And hence we used average normalized confidence gain, which is computed as per this formula, the difference between average post and average pre divided by 100 minus average pre. Qualitatively, students received our intervention positively and described that our activities aided them to understand the technical interview process and strengthened their confidence in participating in future interviews. For example, a student mentioned in regard to our activities, "I like them and they reveal things I need to work on before I do another technical interview." We measured students' confidence before and after the course for both control and intervention groups. Our hypothesis was that confidence levels of participants would improve. However, there was a difference in mean pre-confidence levels between the 2 cohorts where the control group had a mean confidence of 1.2 at the start of the semester, while that of the intervention group was of 0.7. The anomaly is possibly due to the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, as at that time of control group's measurements, fewer students may have participated in internships. Also, higher confidence scores are possibly due to lower fatigue levels, but remain as an exception to subsequent semesters. Since there was a significant difference between the 2 cohorts pre-measures, we decided to compute the average confidence gain of the intervention and control groups. The overall average confidence gain of the control semester cohort was 0.36, while that of the intervention semester was 0.42. The figure on the right shows that a higher percentage of students in the intervention semester experienced a greater boost in confidence levels. For example, 40% of students in the intervention group experienced a 2-point jump in the confidence levels compared to 22% in the control group. Therefore, the increase in confidence gains and student reflection suggests that activities are positively impacting students in preparing for technical interviews. Our findings indicate that the inclusion of technical interview activities in the curriculum has been greatly impactful. Students gained the experience and knowledge of the technical interview process and were able to reduce interview anxiety through their participation in the activities. Having regard to the findings, we recommend other instructors to implement technical interview preparation activities in their courses, especially in ones that cover data structures and will contain overlapping content. Thank you for attending, and please let us know if you have any questions.